In this video, I'm going to go through a follow-up of my AI workflow using K-Agent. I use this workflow to scrape the transcript from my YouTube videos and then post it over to GitHub. If you're new to the channel, I'm Chris, I'm a platform engineer, and I've been working with cloud and Kubernetes for the last 5 or 6 years. I'm going to show you a high-level diagram first of the flow, start to finish, and then we'll go through some of the code and some of the challenges that I faced. Taking a look at the diagram, we can see here I've done my best to make this as simple as possible. So I have here my home cluster. All right, so this is a cluster I run at home. It's a small machine, it's a mini PC, and it's running downstairs in my basement. On there, I'm running K3s, and it's literally just one node, one single node. For what I do and test and everything like that, it is more than powerful enough for this. And I can use my entire workflow on that one machine. So we have my cluster here. I have actually configured it so that I can access the front end through a Cloudflare tunnel. So Cloudflare handles the certificates and the authentication, which is managed through Google. So if I actually go through to my UI, I have to authenticate. So it is public, but only I can access it, and anyone else I deem, to give access to. It comes through, the Cloudflare directs it to the ingress, which then uses, the definition for the host name to pass it on to the service. The service then points to the UI, and then that's where the magic happens. So once I've accessed the UI by, using some of these features that we've incorporated, I can start the flow. So first of all, we've got my YouTube scribe agent, which is an agent that I've defined, and we can take a look. We'll take a look at them one at a time. Why not? So if I jump over to that, okay. So this is the agent configuration. This is using K-Agent, a AI client that I use regularly. It's the only one I actually use because it does what I want, and it works on Kubernetes. It's Kubernetes native. So for me, it's perfect because I'm a Kubernetes guy, I'm self-host, and this works. Yeah. So here we have the custom resources and kind. So it's an agent. I've named it YouTube. Not very exciting. The model config that I'm using, I am just using GPT Mini. So I'm not using anything particularly powerful with this. I'm using the cheapest, freest model. I actually only put, I think, about $5 or $10 on the APIs about 3 months ago, and I still haven't run out of credits yet. So this is really lightweight. This is a really cheap way of running a workflow, an automated workflow. And then here we've got the system message, which I've kind of written a few times over, using ChatGPT to help me write an effective system prompt to get what I want out of it. So it's pretty robust and very verbose. But the long and short of it here is I've defined what it is, right? So it turns a YouTube transcript into a markdown blog post and then sends it over to another agent. The tools that it has available to it is GitVideo, which is the tool that I have built, which is the MCP tool that I've built using KMCP. We have the workflow, so it fetches the info, gets the metadata, converts to markdown, and then for the handoff, to be very specific with this, when it hands off to the following agent, so the GitHub pusher, which we'll take a look at in a sec, these are the details that it has to hand off with, and it has to hand off in JSON. And this is just how this is how it manages it downstream. And one of the biggest challenges I had was the date. Because the way in which I'm posting blogs on my GitHub, the date is important. And if it puts the wrong date in the wrong order, then the release of the post is all incorrect. So this was actually quite a challenge getting this right, and I had to phrase it in a certain way, even though I defined it very explicitly in my MCP tool. For the handoff, it's going to invoke the tool. So I had some issues with the communication between the tools. I had to specifically tell it to use this tool because it was looking for a tool. It was looking for GitHub Pusher, but it's actually called K-Agent in the name. I'm sorry, it's called GitHub push in the namespace kagent. So it picked it up when I was very precise. It just makes it to reduce the errors, really. That's all it is. The cleaner the information I put in this system prompt, the less likely I am to get any errors. Finally, the reply, which I think I'm still getting some bugs with because I don't actually always get a reply. Hey ho. But it's fine. It's a work in progress. This is not finished, done deed. And then the reply to user. It's supposed to bring me back the title, the branch, and the PR URL, which I don't think I've got working yet. So this is the work in progress part. Further down the line, we've defined some skills that it can leverage, description examples, get transcripts for videos, fetch captions for YouTube, turn it into a blog. This is interesting. But this is the main interesting part here, is the tools. So these are the tools that the agent is able to leverage. So in a world where we have MCPs everywhere and agents everywhere, there's a debate, and I think it's fairly conclusive now, that agents shouldn't have access to all tools. And we should only give agents the tools that they actually require to carry out the task. And if there is a conflict of interest or conflict of permissions, then you should hand it off to another agent with the correct tools and the correct permissions. Whether or not that's the standard yet, but that seems to be a bit of the way the conversation's going. I've even seen that there is also an MCP that has access to the MCP servers, is in like the list of MCP server tools, and it can decide which tool it wants to use. Lots of different ways. But yeah, so here is my MCP using KMCP, which is another K-agent tool that builds an MCP in a standard wrapper. So I just kind of define the API calls that I want to make. It wraps it, and then we containerize it, push it up, and then I can hand it off here. And I also define the agent that it has direct communication to, so it can talk to agent GitHub pusher, which is what we want. And it's an agent that retrieves. This is just a description for the agent itself. Going back to the flowchart, that is our MCP here, the scraper. And that is what that's going to do is once the agent communicates with it, it's going to leverage it and then reach out to YouTube and get the transcript. It will then return it, and the agent will then update that transcript into like a human readable format. So obviously my videos are going to be me talking, and they're going to be me talking to somebody, and it's going to kind of rewrite that in a way that it's me writing on a piece of paper. The best it can anyway. So you can see here, this was something I built with FastMCP using that tool that I said about. And this is where all this labeling, all this setup has come from. So some of this definition has come from me, but a lot of it has come from that wrapper tool. So whilst I am trying to obviously build my AI knowledge, my MCP knowledge, and workflow knowledge, there's an awful lot to learn. And I didn't want to be... It would be very interesting to learn how to build MCP tools from the ground up, but this was a way to accelerate it so that I didn't have to learn that right now in order to start leveraging AI tools. This is the startup command. This is the image that we're using. As you can see here, it's my image. It's nothing special. It's on version 0.4 because I've actually had a few rewrites to get it working. I had a few failures recently where it wasn't pulling, and I just had to reword and redesign some of the Python. It's exposed on port 3000, and it's using transport type Studio, which is one of the types that you can use when communicating with MCP. It's Studio, or is it SSE? Something like that. Again, still learning, right? Still learning. And in the way that K-Agent communicates with self-built and self-hosted MCPs, it just uses a Kubernetes service to connect to it. And all it needs is these annotations here. And then that's it. You're away. You're off to the races, and your agent can talk to your MCP. Again, the rest of it's fairly standard YAML. You've got your target port 3000 and your port 3000. The rest of this is fairly clean cut. And as I've said, I'm self-hosting it on my own cluster. Okay, so far what we've covered off is we have covered the scribe agent itself, the MCP tool, and also the agent rewrite. That's the first part. This is all done within one agent. Okay, The next agent is our GitHub pusher. Now, when it came to the communication between Agent 1 and Agent 2, as in YouTube Scribe and GitHub Pusher, the logic behind it was a bit of a challenge because I wanted to ensure I was trying to follow some best practice in terms of making it secure. And also I wanted the downstream logic to work perfectly well as well, which is where we bring in today's sponsor. Now, I am not the strongest when it comes to logic, which is why I do actually need to practice. And I use games and tools that help build this skill. One of the main ones I use on a daily basis, just kind of like before the start of the day or in lunch, is Brilliant. Brilliant helps build your critical thinking skills through problem solving, not memorizing. They have an array of fantastic games that help build that logic skill that me especially, I struggle with. The daily use of this has really helped improve my problem solving skills and logic thinking. Learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for personal and professional growth. I genuinely love some of the games. They are just like quite satisfying when you actually get to higher levels. Being such an avid gamer in my youth, the fact that I can tie in the two is just really good. And that's exactly what helped me resolve this problem. So the pusher, as you can see, it's got a very similar sort of definition. It's an agent, it's got its CR definitions because it's all hosted on K-Agent, our AI client, which is all good. It's using the default model config, which again is GPT-3 Mini. I think it's 3 Mini or O3. It's a mini one. It's the cheapest one. And then I have here, again, a fairly concrete system prompt that tells it what to do and how to do it. So do not print or phrase any user viable message. So I was having some issues in terms of, what it was passing over and what it was receiving and then what it was trying to commit. So you have to be very explicit with what you do. So this is what happens. You receive a JSON. So this is the JSON payload that we spoke about previously. And you're going to open a PR against this repo under this directory. Very straightforward, it's very clear. It's a simple blog post hosting platform. It's just using GitHub Pages. And we're going to validate the date, right? Ensure the date needs to be correct in terms of the format. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So we've got some validation steps there, which is good. I mean, that's good practice in itself. We have the definitions for the file name, the branches, the front matter. Now, because I'm using Jekyll, right, I do have some front matter to make it kind of look pretty, or at least my attempt to being pretty. And I'm very clear about the fact that it is my attempt to being pretty. I'm not the best at it. We're going to pull some images. We're going to fall back to thumbnail URLs if not. So then I just have some redundancy. And we're going to commit and then create a PR with no human in the loop. So the first time I iterated on this, I did all this definition and it created the branch, but it wouldn't commit anything because it was like, well, you didn't tell me I could commit anything. What it was actually trying to do was trying to commit first before going to create the PR or create the branch. So it was like, well, I can't commit to the master branch. So no, wait a minute. I don't want you to commit to the master branch. I want you to do this. And you see, this is how this all circles back to that logical thinking step and going back to problem solving skills. It is something you just need, in my opinion, to work in this kind of industry. Because, critical thinking it's a tough one. So I was able to mitigate that by putting some concrete steps in there, create from target branch, commit the file to that branch, if the PR can, create, do this, Very clear cut. If there's any collisions, how to handle them. Because of course, if there is errors or if there is problems, it doesn't know what to do. So if you don't tell it, it's just going to probably fall on its ass. So this way, I'm very clear if there's a collision, return, do not overwrite. So it won't delete anything, in theory. This is all theory, obviously, because who knows what machines will do when they decide to start doing things on their own. Another interesting point I feel I should make for anyone that is looking to build agents and definitions in context, do not use curly braces. Or rather, if you're going to use curly braces, make sure you're using them correctly. I had an issue where the curly braces were prompting for a variable. So they were expecting it to be a value, but I wasn't passing a value through. So it kept failing over and over again. And that was something I learned. I actually had it. I just had something, I don't know, it was like, I don't know, like here. It was just wrapped in curly braces. And then it would fail and say, well, wait a minute, I haven't got a variable called JSON. Don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, oh, okay. So that's a problem. So we don't want that. Okay, so it's a point worth making. We've got some of the agent capabilities and tools. So the tools are the important one. And we're actually using a remote tool. So this is using GitHub's official tool. And all I'm doing is I've given it the ability to comment, branch, pull request, push, and commit. Okay, this MCP tool has a massive array of capabilities, which if you wanted to build some real crazy end-to-end GitHub stuff, I have no doubt that you could. But for what I'm doing right now, this is enough. And then here, finally, I'm actually passing my GitHub pat, my authorization token, and I'm passing it through as a secret. So I'm a massive advocate of external secrets. So I think it's a brilliant tool, and I really hope that it gets the support it needs to keep going. And you can see here, it's just standard, so we're pulling the headers. So it's making a call, essentially. So it needs the headers. This I had some challenges with because I had to make sure I had this here with kagent, and then it populates a secret, passes it through, and it works, like the authority works. So this overall is a good thing. So carrying on, if I jump back over to our workflow. So we can see here we've managed to get all the way up to our scribe agent, the pusher. The pusher has received the package. It's going to put it in that format that we've defined, and then it's going to use the GitHub MCP to, oh, that's not attached to that arrow, to push it to GitHub. After that, it's going to create a pull request and push it to the blog. So without further ado, let's do exactly that. We're going to go to kagent.kubegit.com. And you can see here straight away, I'm presented with my Cloudflare Access Google Managed Authentication, which, by the way, is the coolest thing since sliced bread. I was blown away. I regret to inform that I have never actually used Cloudflare tunnels before. I've heard about them, and I wish I used them ages ago because they are bloody amazing. They handle the certificates. I don't look this. So you can look here, this is secure. I haven't done the certificates for this. Cloudflare Tunnel is handling that. Cloudflare handles all of it. And this is globally available. So it's all just sat behind my domain. All I needed was a domain. Amazing. Highly recommend Cloudflare Tunnels. And we are presented with kagent. So this, again, is running. Oh no, it was running. There's nothing worse than live debugging, right? Cloudflare GitHub Pusher is running. Oh, it's literally just started a new pod. 26 seconds. It's up. Interesting. What's going on there then? Okay, but it says it's up. So I'm not entirely sure why that happened, but we can see here that 46 seconds ago, it decided to create a new pod. I'm not sure why, but I'm not going to go into it right now anyway. So if we hit a refresh on this, there we go, we'll see that the pod's back up. So I'm not too worried about the Istio agent and my first agent. They're agents that I'm not really managing. They're some of the default ones that have come on. They're clearly going through a cycle. I'm interested in our YouTube agent. So let's jump into that. I'm going to type YouTube, shot Coral there, and I'm going to go find one of my videos. Now, I will, oh, there you go, burnout. Burnout's right there. Burnout. Now, the cool or not so cool thing about this, depending on which side of the fence you sit on, is this is not like limited and capped to my YouTube. So this is not, there is no API calls, no API key involved in this. This is purely using public, API calls. It uses Python tool and it scrapes it. So if I was that way inclined, there is nothing stopping me going out there, posting any URL, and then here we go. So see that, see sometimes, now this is a bug that I'm trying to work on. And the worst thing about it is I actually tested this yesterday. I wonder if it's because the pods have restarted for whatever reason, that something else is going on. But you can see here that it's pulled the tool. So this is the MCP tool that it has access to. Okay, and it doesn't have an English transcript available. Right, okay, cool. So this is not an ideal example, is it? Let's try, we'll try another one to see if it works, and if it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to come back to this later. It's just embarrassing more than anything. All right, here we go. Final take, take 2, or take 3. All right, call requested, fantastic. It's taken the URL, fantastic, or the video ID. This is good. There is nothing quite like the demo gods coming down hard on you. Now, it's taken a little bit longer. So I can assume, safe to assume, that this is working now. This is where I also want to add like new things going forward. So I want to add metrics and logging so that I can do some tracing with this and I can actually see what's going on in the background. But fantastically, we can see that it has pulled the ID. It's taken the ID, it's pulled the transcript. Here's the transcript, right? And it is constructed it in a way. And then you can see here, look, it's passed it off onto our other agent. So now our agent is doing exactly that. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And it's done. It's done. Now, this is the part where I said, like, I haven't got feedback yet, so I need to get the feedback. But if I head over to GitHub now, which you can still see my screen, so that's fine. Okay, and here is my repo. Now, if we're lucky, and that was fairly quick, don't forget. I didn't skip any of that. Like, you know, this took seconds. Has it got a time? It hasn't got a time on it. But this did not take long at all. This is the repo. This is the pull request. Cloud Engineer reveals top hunting strategies, which is the title of this YouTube. Cloud Engineer reveals top hunting strategies. And if we have a look at it, the PR has been created. I've got a relatively comprehensive information. I've got the publish date, the source. It's created by my agent so that I know who's posting it. It's not me. And there, boom, done. I can review the changes. I can approve it. I can paste it. And then the action's going to run in the background. And then when I go to my chrismatcham.dev, you will see, okay, it's not there yet. It's still running in the background. No, not that one. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. The action's probably still running. I haven't squashed and merged it. Come on. Okay, so we can see here that my GitHub action is now completed and it's deployed. I have a few warning errors here, but I'm not too worried about that. So now if we jump over to my blog site, we should be able to see a new one posted. So yeah, this is it here. So Cloud Engineer reveals top job hunting strategy. So this is the YouTube video. This is the UI where we posted it. And we have gone through the entire flow of going here. We've done the scribe, the MCP, it's gone to YouTube, it's done the agent, it's done the pusher, it's over to GitHub, we've approved the pull request, and now it is on our public blog. And this is what it looks like. So this has got no input from me whatsoever. It's taken the thumbnail from the YouTube to put it on the background, which is fine, I'm okay with that. It works as well because it puts the YouTube video at the bottom of my blog. The problem is, as I've just spotted there, it's talking about me in the third person, or in the wrong context. Chris's approach is practical and adaptable. It's talking about me as if I didn't write it. It's saying, Chris, a platform engineer, when really I should be putting I. So this is exactly where in my context where, let's have a look at that. In my context of my agent, I will need to update it further in this one when it rewrites it. So with the rewrite, I must have skipped or missed the definition of write it in this sense, as if I'm writing it. And it's completely broken it in the sense of it's doing that. But the point, or at least the benefit of what we're doing, is it does work-ish. Apart from that, you can see here the format is correct, the images are correct, it's fairly consistent, you know, it's got subheadings and stuff like that. And I would say that's all right. It's added links and stuff. Navigating issues. Chris says unfamiliar job titles like live ops or roll ops. Yeah, I mean, the way in which it's written it is not ideal, but a previous one, this one, yeah, see, this one does the same. So, like I said, this is a work in progress. Okay, it's work in progress. But what we have is a working end-to-end automation for public posting. And I could leverage this to also post to LinkedIn, and I could also use it to probably post to Twitter and Instagram, if I was that way inclined. Don't forget to learn for free on Brilliant. Go to brilliant.org/Chris Matcham, scan the QR code on the screen, or click the link in the description below. Viewers will get 20% off their annual subscription, giving them unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. Until next time.